So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see.
The worrying thing is with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he could never get into the fight. So yeah, I think it's stacked against Dillian. I'm not saying that Dillian can't do anything in the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if I'm looking at it from the outside in and just looking at how I see both men's stages of careers, the styles.
Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
Experts in heavyweight boxing offer their predictions for Moses. Dillian Whyte versus Itauma. Although Frank Warren believes Moses will prevail, he acknowledges that Dillian may throw a powerful blow, making it a difficult contest. He thinks Moses can withstand the strain and prevail. Warren also makes it plain that he wants Moses to win, as he regards him as the future of heavyweight boxing.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte, but I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing. Right. However he does it, and I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him. I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fans' fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
That's what it is. It is a fans' fight.
Despite pointing out that Dillian Whyte hasn't been playing at his best lately, prominent boxing analyst and pundit Ade Oladipo observes a noticeable shift in the build-up to this bout. A totally different Whyte, leaner, sharper, and physically prepared, can be seen in the training camp updates and publicly available footage. He appears to be in about the greatest physical shape of his career, which might make him a real challenge to Moses Itauma, who is still a young and promising player. Ade thinks that because of this change, Whyte will be able to challenge Moses and test his boundaries in the ring.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that... I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte... me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think it might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Skill's skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, He's not just a brawler. He's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds, I'm sparring 12 rounds. And, I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his ass. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights. But Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
According to former professional fighter and boxing expert Lawrence Owe, Moses Itauma has won some amazing bouts and had some amazing contests. He emphasizes, however, that none of those triumphs had been against a player with Dillian Whyte's level of skill and experience. Moses is still in the early stages of his profession and lacks Whyte's years of ring experience at the highest level. This disparity in experience may have a significant impact on how the battle plays out.
I know, relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily, he's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him, in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1-14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes you dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath. You get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really because, like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebenezer like instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh. Dark humour. But maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them has been massive because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dylan's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was ask myself a question. Can I take a good whack and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it is what it was. But that fight reignited the...
Following a spell of inactivity and a less convincing last battle, many onlookers had doubted Dillian Whyte's form, but his new training tape has shown him looking fantastic. After a spell of inactivity and a less compelling final fight, many onlookers had doubted his sharpness. But the most recent footage has changed their minds. During drills, he is observed moving purposefully, producing strong combos, and keeping a concentrated rhythm. Additionally, his body seems to be in near-peak shape, much like it was when he decisively stopped Lucas Brown in 2018. His admirers, who think he still has the skills to compete at a top level, are feeling more upbeat as a result of this tangible proof of his increased vigor and discipline. Whyte's training development has become a topic of conversation in the boxing industry as he gets ready to take on the youthful and rapidly rising Moses Itauma, increasing hopes for a competitive and possibly explosive heavyweight fight.